Hello, good afternoon. In this video, I go pretty in-depth with adding login to your website so that people can use their Urbit names to log in as themselves, to prove to you that they are, in fact, the owner of a urbit-id. I'm delivering it from a website, from my Urbit, but it could be kind of in anything. I show you how we do that. We get into the back end. It gets pretty nerdy. And even though I've known crypto for a little bit, there was realizations of how signatures worked that was really kind of eye-opening for me. This video is brought to you by people who support me on Fund. They are some of the most amazing people. And if you want to join them, you can go to Fund and use Ethereum to send me some USDC to encourage me to make these videos for y'all. We're coming up towards the end of the fund. It'll wrap up soon. Get in there. We can try to see how much we can give to give directly and encourage me to make more videos. So anyways, enjoy the video. Bye. Good day to you. It's nice and quiet. The kittens have chilled out, so this time of day is a little easier for making videos. Here we are in mid-November. Just a handful of weeks ago, I got back from my trip to Subassembly. Subassembly was an awesome Urbit get-together in the Pacific Northwest, and it legitimately looked like that. That was lovely. That was really awesome. And I decided to go on a camping trip, a road trip, and actually just drive up there and camp up there. Here's like my route. I'm using simplemaps.com or whatever to generate this SVG, like this thing that I can imprint into a browser or maybe like a Hawk page and explain what I did here. I have a feeling I can connect text and pictures and maybe I can associate it with a timeline. This is as far as I got, which is to post the places that I stopped on my way up there. Yeah, that was basically my route. That took me a week and a half. Texas to New Mexico, up to stay with a buddy in Colorado, and then Idaho-Wyoming border, just outside of Coeur d'Alene up here, time in Washington. Definitely hung out in Seattle, and then the lovely, lovely Subassembly, and then I sped back as fast as I could, and then barely made my anniversary. Yeah. Subassembly was in preparation hosting a hackathon. The hackathon was to see who could make the best app that allowed anybody with an urbit-id to log in to a website. So the best use of Urbit names for logging into a website. I'll just show you. Let me show you on my website, homebase.com, because this was my submission. Standard Hangout with Visions podcast website that we all know and love. You can come in over here. Hello. We've given you this comet name. If you own a planet, you may log in. And so I can come in here and type, oh, this is my Urbit name. Well, let me log in with it. It takes you over to MetaMask. Let me go get my password. There we go. Hit that login page. It's going to ask for a signature request. It's going to give me this wacky message. And I'm going to be like, okay, let's confirm it. And by golly, it decided that I am nordus-mocwyl and tell me to enjoy my visit. And so now I can come over to this lobby, which is a window into our Urbit group. Geez, you're in a video like 2 days ago. I got it working. Hey, there we go. It's so responsive and fast. Yeah. On Homebase, you can log in as your planet. If you do, you can talk into my group here. Let me log out. You can show up and talk as a random comment that is given to represent your browser session. You'll be that person for the next week or whatever. Maybe this is a great place to ask, how do I get on Urbit? That's a good question to ask as a comment in something like this. So that was my submission. I did log in with Urbit names for my website so that people can post as themselves in my group. We'll talk about how I made that happen. I do want to show you how this lobby here is connected with my group. So here at home, I can go to the lobby. This is my group. I've got people over here for the Hangout Musicians Urbit group. I see the Talon group. This is very central. And it's so central, it can actually have different layers to it. So I have the lobby. The lobby can be for anybody to show up and say things because this is the connection to the outside world. And who knows how bad that can get. We all know how bad it can get. But people further in They don't have to deal with it if they don't want to have to deal with it, but they also can. They can come in here as themselves because they're logged in. This is much more of like, flyby comment stuff, but it's the way in, it's the way out, and it's our open little window. Kind of like if you're walking down like a quaint downtown, you have a store, and then it has like window shopping, window to the store window, storefront window. Inside there, you kind of put your best face. You put up your nice mannequins or your really nice rings or your deliciousest looking food to get people interested to come in. But once you're on the inside, like there's other things, like there's sharing of images, there's sharing of long talks and rants, and long form things, and there's an inner chat that's not for everybody else. And that can be as deep or complex. We can set up a patron-only spot or whatnot. That is my Urbit group. I see it as important. I see it as very core and central. Yeah, so it's important to be yourself, to have your urbit-id. And so it can be motivating for some applications to let you log in as your urbit name. Honestly, I would like all of my computer interactions to be able to be like, yeah, this is my computer. This is who I am. Log me in. Don't ask me to link you up to my Google everything. Let me just log in as this. So let's talk about how that works. First off, let's come over to Drawtown. There are two simultaneous ways of logging in. There is the Urbit native eauth, which I had implemented previously, and I really liked it. And there's the current kind of like Azimuth is often what it's called. It's really like MetaMask, if you're familiar enough with that. So let's talk this out. This is actually a really great exercise because I learned about crypto in 2020. Some of the concepts make sense, but some of it's a little bit wishy-washy. These cryptographic signatures, like when I had that signature request, I wasn't totally sure about that. I didn't really get it. And implementing that login was actually how I got it. So this whole Azimuth login kind of thing, this is possible because of Ethereum currently. The way that Ethereum comes in is every Urbit name is actually an NFT. So each urbit-id is a unique token on Ethereum, often known as an NFT. There is one and only one, aka unique, and that goes into your Ethereum account. So you're going to have an Ethereum wallet, an Ethereum address. So in Ethereum, anybody can create a wallet that can contain any kind of Ethereum thing. So that's your account. It can have an NFT in it. It can have 200 USDC, which can be sent over to fund, which is great. It can have an ETH in it, or more likely 0.001 ETH. And that's where it sits with the address. I'm going so simple that I think it's actually going to be a little hard to justify how complex I'm going to get with this. On Ethereum, everybody using it gets an address, often called your public key. That's important. Inside of that public key, you can have any number of tokens. Sometimes they're unique tokens, NFTs. Sometimes they are fungible tokens like USDC or Ethereum. Because the urbit-id is inside an Ethereum wallet, if you can prove that you own the Ethereum account, then you can prove that you own the NFT. Let's return to the website to see it happen again. Whenever I enter in nordus-mocwyl, I as a rando, I have just navigated to homebase.com. You don't know who I am. I am not verified. I am a random person. In fact, this browser session has been given this name, urbit-id. It represents this browser session as somebody trying to communicate with Urbit at the other end of this URL, right? And so as far as the app knows, I could be anybody. But here, I'm going to try to say, hey, I'm claiming I'm nordus-mocwyl. I can prove it to you. My app goes and asks, okay, well, if you have an Ethereum wallet handy, like the MetaMask wallet, the browser is like, hey, I'm going to make a request for a signature. I have this message. If you can sign it with your cryptographic keys, and then I will go and double check that. And if it checks out, if you really are the owner of that account, then I will totally believe you. First, you have to prove that you own that address by what they call signing a message. So you're going to get a message. Let's just say message. So I just don't want to get too technical. And the way that we're not going to get technical is by looking at the code. Oh, nice. There we go. So as a rando, I'm going to claim that I am nordus-mocwyl. So I log in. The app goes, okay, there's this random garbledy thing. I want you to use your private keys. The public key that you're about to claim, there is an irreversible connection between that and a private key that you have. You can take that private key and you can use it to transform this message into more garbledy message. And then I will take your public key and I will ungarbledy that. And if that works out and I get the exact message back, it will prove that you, as the owner of the key, the private secret keys, you were the only one who could have possibly signed it. You made a transformation that only you could have done. And I was able to prove that not by knowing your secret keys, but by knowing your public key, because I already knew this is the message that I needed to get out of it. That's the message that I got out of decrypting what you encrypted. I can now know in confidence that the person that knows the secret of that account is the person that I'm talking to. And that is ownership in the digital world. We can see this. So I have this message. Please sign that. Let's confirm it. So we see the challenge here. This is the account that I'm trying to claim is me. The app just pulls that from MetaMask, the Ethereum wallet that's handy to the browser. It makes that request. And then this is the signature. I have used the MetaMask wallet to take this random challenge and apply my signature onto it. My app goes and uses this account, the public key, to disentangle the signature. When it comes out with the same secret, we're good to go. I can trust that this browser session is the person who has that Ethereum account. I can double check with the blockchain to be like, okay, this account owns the nordus-mocwyl token. It all checks out. This is who I'm talking to. They can log in as themselves and they can talk as themselves in our group. I think I thought of maybe a way of playing around. Let's get over here to Bird, nordus-mocwyl, who is hosting all this. We're going to open up IS, this is a baby hawk. This is a nice file browser. So let's go into home and actually see how this works. Go into the app, full screen for a sec. Man, is it messy. This is an initial GET request. Oh, and then when somebody clicks on login, that login button comes in on a path called click login. And I can decide what to do with it. When somebody hits that login button, it comes back with all kinds of information that I need, like what urbit are they trying to get into? What's the secret? What's the signature that they wrote up? What address? At the end of that, we validate it. So that's what this thing is it's going to take all the information from the browser that gets sent back to the app, and then we are going to validate it. Let's see. I'm going to make that visible in the terminal, and we'll watch it. So this is the initial GET. If somebody goes to homebase.com, if they aren't logged in already, then we generate a challenge. The challenge is this random message. If they're not logged in, that happens every single time you open it up. I just create a new message and associate it with that browser session. Do people understand this? So let's go check out validate. So we take all the information that we get, we pump it into validate. Validate is going to do all the work here. I stole it from Handful Davned's Azimuth, and he modified it from Rabsef Bikram's mask. So validate's going to take all this information and do the hardcore cryptography stuff. It's going to grab the message, the challenge, the thing that we're sending. It's going to take that. It's going to take the signature as created from applying the private keys on that message, and it is going to disentangle that from whatever the thing is. And since I tried to track some of this stuff down, I don't 100% get it. I know that's what's happening. I definitely couldn't follow the way things had to be chopped up or grabbed or parsing stuff. There's all that mathy crypto stuff where it needs to like de-garble the signature to verify that the owner of the account is who just signed that thing. When you can do that, you can be like, all right, check mark, right? It's like, hey, your message signature thing, this checks out. I am talking to the person who owns that address. That's great. Next step, go check and make sure that they are the owner of the NFT. This goes and checks the owner of the NFT. Urbit keeps a copy of which address owns what urbit name. And it does it through its own little L2. Limp and droopy. That's I'm talking about the kitten. I'm talking about Sleepy and limp and droopy. Urbit keeps in touch with what's happening as far as not all of Ethereum, but this particular thing that it cares about. It's called Azimuth. Azimuth is the Ethereum contract, which just keeps this address has this token, this address has this token, and it keeps a copy of it in a naive rollup. This part was like verify signature. Man, that's so ugly. And then we also have like lookup owner. Where you're going to do that is the Urbit specific L2 naive rollup. It's just like the copy of that inside of Urbit. And we can mess around with it in the dojo. First, let's make sure dojo understands everything it needs to know about naive there. Okay. And then we are going to peek into, we're going to find a point in the naive rollup, or potentially find a point in it. We're going to ask the Azimuth app about points that it knows. I'm asking about nordus-mocwyl. Let's see what we get. I can find out who is the owner of nordus-mocwyl. It's listed right here. There's the owner. Let's change this to Zod. Zod's basically public knowledge, right? We have a naive rollup that brings everything that's understood about the Ethereum contract of Azimuth, and it's brought into here, and we can check anybody for ownership. So that's what's happening. Let's do this. The challenge is kind of weird, right? Like, why is it so garbled? Why are we bothering with making it random every single time? I will show you why. So why do we make it different every single time? Why not have the challenge just be a known thing? Let's set the challenge as something constant. Everybody's just going to get the same challenge. So now I've modified the app that if any browser comes to this URL, we generate a new challenge. But like, instead of a new challenge, we'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just keep it simple. We'll just make it the same thing every time. That hurts my brain a little bit less. So you log in and you get a message. Okay, cool. Let me confirm that. And there we go. It works just fine. That's great. I get this signature. OXB466649668880. That checks out. That's fine. What happens if I log out and we try to do it again? And we'll see what changes or doesn't change. I get the same message, and now I'm going to use my secret key to sign that message. And wouldn't you know it, when you use your private key to sign this specific message, you will get this specific signature back out again. So what does that mean? This is like not changing your lock on a hotel door where you just have a pass key. The point of giving a random garbled message and tweaking it ever so slightly every single time is so that the signature is unique. If I already knew what the message was and I was able to like snoop and find out what the signature is as like a third, mischievous third party, then I could just use the signature and be like, I can get in. It's like, here, let me prove to you that I am this person that has this secret. I would be able to do that because I can show you that signature that only that person could have created. That's how login works. Anyways, there's a little bit more to it. But yeah, that's a little bit of in-depth things. There's an important value for ratcheting up, changing the challenge every single time, because you don't want somebody to be able to fake the whatever new signature you need. That's it. Logging in using MetaMask, going to Ethereum, going to the local version of Ethereum, the setup for Azimuth and double checking all that. That is login with Azimuth. It's how people can come to my website and talk in the group as themselves. That was my submission. I guess EOS will have to be for a different time. I would like to implement it again. That is where if one Urbit wants to connect to your website that your Urbit has, then it double checks with it. It's like, hey, is this person that? And then this delivers a place for you to like log in. So it's kind of just like this decentralized double check login. It goes and talks to the other urbit, and it's like, oh, here's a place to log in, you log in. And that is handled all just in the URL. But that's for another time. Anyways, I gotta go. Bye.